writing music as well, which came in handy later on when we get together with a great singer like Jake, for instance, our singer, and he's got a song idea and I can actually have something to say. I can't just go, well, I don't know how to write a song, I just play beats, but that's not the case. I do actually know quite a bit about music for that reason. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is that through all of it, I did take lessons. I always had somebody who knew much more than me, and still do for that matter, helping me along the way. And I think that's really important for anybody who's getting into music or wants to get into music. You don't have to do it by yourself. There's plenty of stuff on YouTube and there's plenty of places to go and get information. And to have somebody guide you along the way, you're going to not start doing bad habits, which you can do. There's a lot of things about drumming that I see even professionals doing that are going to hinder you in the future if you don't learn a good basis, a good foundation right from the beginning, which is what I had, and it's helped me all the way through all of this kind of stuff. I have some notes as to what kinds of things I want to talk about. So I was in high school, I was learning all this kind of stuff, and in high school, where I grew up in Vancouver, there was a company named AllAccess Drums, and actually a famous drum store called Drums Only. And Drums Only was the first in North America, one of the first stores that was just drums, only drums in the place. They also made their own drums, and they ended up being for quite some time some of the world's finest drums. So, because my teacher was a Vancouverite as well, he told me about these drums, and so I started hanging around at the store. That's how I spent my weekends. I just felt like I wanted to be around and talking drums, and I really liked the people that were working there. I guess they were a lot like me, kind of drum-oriented nerds, perhaps. But so I would go down there and spend every weekend and whatnot through my high school years, last 2 years of high school, and towards the end of school, I was wrapping it up. My last semester at school, I had done so many extra music courses that were before and after school that I had my afternoons off, basically. I had 2 classes in the morning, and then the afternoon was done. So, I mean, that was a great 12 years. Winding into not really having a job, which I would later enjoy for the next 10 years, not having a real job, being a musician. And that's the other hard work we'll talk about later. But in that time, I would go home, and I had a neighbor who was an exemplary guitar player, and he was just happy to have somebody that was trying to learn drums in the neighborhood. So he would do me a great favor by coming and hanging out, plugging an amp, and we'd play whatever songs he knew, which was way more than I knew. So I spent the evening then learning songs he was trying to show me. We'd come back the next day and we'd do it all over again. So I had a great last year of high school learning how to play that way. From there I knew that I wanted to leave high school and pursue a career in music, and it wasn't really that I was thinking about a career in music such that it is today, such that as I'm talking to you now about this kind of thing, or trying to even make real money at it. I just knew that I really wanted to do it. And that feeling I notice in lots of even successful musicians, that a lot of people had a different reason for wanting to do it. And I always felt like mine was of a good quality because I felt like I couldn't not do it. It was more of a compulsion to play. And I was really always playing. I was always looking to play. I was always trying to play with people. And my time and time off from having to work, I would be drumming or jamming with other musicians. Shortly after I got out of high school, I moved downtown and I said, okay, I'm going to start playing with as many bands as I can and get in as many situations, essentially taking my neighborhood and expanding it. I was going to move to the big city and play with a bunch of people. Well, a lot of other people had that exact same idea, as you can imagine. So things weren't going, you know, I thought that I would be kind of like in my neighborhood, the only drummer. And it wasn't the case. There's many other drummers, and really good drummers too. So I noticed there's a lot of crowd up there. I think there's some more room up here if anybody's uncomfortable. We can, anyway. So about 2 months in, I lost my job. So there I was. I had no girlfriend and no job there, and I had no place to live, as they say, if you're a musician. And so I got a phone call from this guy, a friend of mine, Randy, who worked at AllAccess Drums, and they needed a guy to go around and help with whatever department needed help. So there was 5 or 6 different departments in building a drum, and so anybody that was a little behind in their stuff, I would go and help that one area. And inside of about 2 years of working there, I ended up basically knowing how to do every part of the drum. So short of cutting a tree down and bending the wood, I could take any drum and make you an amp or whatever. I could make a drum. And in learning that, I learned a great insight into the sound and the feel of drums, how they work, and what can make them sound, how to change all drums into sounding, manipulate the sound of them. And now that in an acoustic instrument, there's not really a lot of other acoustic instruments that you can manipulate the sound in such a way that you can with drums. And I know there's a lot of young people here that might not know some of this music, but there were a few albums over the years that really changed the sound of music. And one that I can think of that you might have heard, one would be Tom Petty's drum sound for a while was a big one. Fleetwood Mac was another one. Def Leppard was another one, where the drums themselves became a real focal point of the music. You know, a lot of music that we listen to is just, you're listening to the words, you hear the songs, it's a guitar solo, it's really nice, and it's beautiful, and it's a great song and whatnot. These were types of albums that changed the sound that the drums were able to make, and that they were recorded in a certain way and whatnot. And in working at this AOT shop, I learned all these different techniques on how to tune things and how to make them sound different, how to get the most out of them, and how to maintain them and keep them in good working order for years and years and years. I've never really broken a drum, and I've certainly working at the shop, I've seen a lot of broken drums. I've fixed drums for people, and it's because they didn't know how to take care of them properly. And I learned all of these things in working there, and that was great.